Hey, did you know this was a vlog? A vlog? I'm trying to make it more vloggy. This might be a more vloggy episode. If I can actually get my face in the screen. This is me. This is how I feel. I'm pale. My body is being a pain in the ass. I'm like all cuddled up under some rock. This is me. Soul, you feel me. How do you like film putting on makeup? I don't even know. Am I in the camera? Am I in there? Makeup on. Every room in my house except for this one makes my skin look red apparently. That's fine. A behind the scenes look. Don't look this way. Oh god. It's fine. Back in the room. Hi, I'm Kira. I'm a queer cyborg game designer, and this is my vlog. I feel pretty messed up this week, not gonna lie. My body has been a hot mess since I went off of that drug, venlafaxine. Don't take it unless you absolutely need to. I guess you might, these symptoms might be better than what you're experiencing, but whew, my pain is like probably getting 8. I'm taking like Tylenol, doing, doing the yoga, doing the stretches, what is it called? Biofreeze. And like, the thing is with my pain when it gets really bad, I basically just can't think straight. Like I get this brain fog with it. And it makes doing everything harder, and I sound really silly when I'm trying to type things or talk, so I hope this is good. I just released my first Twine game ever. It was the first Twine game I've ever made. It was actually really fun. I was surprised how much of a flow I got into with it when I was designing it. I just kind of got lost for a few hours writing things and figuring out like the tree branches of dialogue and stuff. So yeah, I don't know if I like it, but it was fun to do. The game itself is called Longing. You can find it like on my social media and on my itch.io. I think that's how you pronounce that. Itch.io, I don't know. And it's like about a 10-minute game. It's about monster love and it's about ladies. So if you like those things, you'll probably like it. I'm always a little nervous when I release a game thing because I know the criticism is coming. Even when I like release a YouTube video, like I know someone's gonna say something where like point out where I messed up or like a spelling mistake or grammatical error or how my video wasn't really up to their standards or something. I don't know. I really like critical feedback. Obviously, I'm an artist. And some of those messages I received for Cozy Den helped me make it better. Like I fixed some of the math in it and I made it more trans friendly, just the language I had messed up on. So that stuff is cool. But I wish there was like a way to get this that didn't like completely disrupt my daily flow. I don't know, like I see a message and my heart kind of stops and I, oh, what was someone gonna say? Because even if I'm like open to it, sometimes it still hurts to hear it, even if you're like, I like criticism, it's, hurts your feelings a little. And that's fine. I don't know. Random things about criticism. But the game design thought I'm having today is about structure. I'm putting out like a new game on my Patreon. Like I have to come up with a new thing to make, which is awesome. I'm not complaining in any way. But I think one of the biggest stressors for me when trying to come up with a new game concept is like, what system will I use? Should I create a system from scratch? What will the mechanics look like? And how does that enforce play? Is it going to be a tabletop game? Is it going to be a LARP? Is it going to be a freeform game that's like somewhere in between, with where like maybe, you know, you're sitting at a table but you don't have dice, or maybe it's a more heavily mechanized LARP type situation, where you're sitting around having dinner, you know, like all these types of structure and format are probably like the thing that takes me the longest to figure out, because there's like I think, you know, Apocalypse World, the Powered by the Apocalypse system, is one of my favorites right now because it hits all the buttons for me as far as like you know, having a character-driven story where the mechanics support play, but they aren't difficult or inaccessible for people to play that game. So like, there's math, but it's not complicated math. It's very easy. You know, you can create games like I did with a Cozy Den, where it's a very deconstructed, more accessible version even of the Powered by the Apocalypse rules. Just like taking the basic idea of, you know, here's all the things you want to do in the game. They're called moves. And then you assign like diced outcomes to them. So it's, I don't know, that works really well with my brain and the way that I like to play and the way I like to design. I can like pick a theme, figure out the type of story I want to tell, and then think, what do characters in these types of stories do? And then voila, they're moves. It's like very simple, very easy, very straightforward. But then, so I think the game I want to make next, though, is a David Lynch inspired game. And if you know anything about David Lynch, even if you don't, one of his favorite things is to talk about, in his films and TV shows, the structure of the media. So it's kind of like this meta thing where he'll like take a movie, and, you know, typically a movie has like a beginning, middle, and end. Well, not in a David Lynch movie. Like, the end of the movie might actually be the beginning of the movie narratively. It's just that you don't realize it until you get there. And often his movies are in like a 2-act structure, where there's like the first act of the movie, you know, you get to know all the characters, things are happening, you don't really understand everything, and then suddenly something happens, there's a switch that's flipped, and the second half of the movie might be those same characters, or they might be characters who just look like them, and it might be a completely different story. It's basically like talking about the linear narrative of a film and how it doesn't have to be a line, it can be a circle or a flat circle, right? So, you know, thinking about that type of structure and how I want to emulate that in a role-playing game, I would want to do this similar thing with the role-playing game. Like, think about the structure of the role-playing game and how I can take what's normally a linear format for players and turn it into, you know, a circle, or split it in half. Or allow the players to experiment with the format themselves. Basically, the game is like 50% about the format. And so, like, thinking about that, I'm kind of like, I feel like this needs its own system. But what is that system? You know, do I want to invent this from scratch? Probably not. I'll probably take like some games that I know are similar to these kinds of concepts, like any games that deal with any kind of meta narrative while playing. Like, I actually don't know of too many, so if you know any, let me know. I remember this game called A Penny for Your Thoughts that I played a long time ago. That was kind of like a noir game that I feel like involved some kind of structure that was similar to this, so I'll probably look that up. I don't know if I'll want to, it'll probably be another one-shot, because I feel like you'll want it to, I feel like I want this to be like a movie instead of a TV show. So like one episode instead of several episodes. And kind of just brainstorming. I hope you enjoy my brainstorming. Yeah, there's one more thing in there. Oh, I'll probably look at, I'll probably still, steal some stuff from Powered by the Apocalypse. Like, if you want to do something, here's the things you can do. And I might use some kind of economy with, some kind of points that players can spend, like maybe like fate points, to like, somehow exert their power over the narrative or over the story. Because those are the two things that I think of off the top of my head that might fit well with this type of game. Yeah, structure. There's not really any kinds of rules for, like any kind of design rules for how structure in a role-playing game should work. Like, it could involve math, it could involve dice, it could involve, little coins or gems or whatever. Or, it doesn't even have to involve any of those. You could just be talking. It could be all narrative. And there's so many different formats when it comes to, like, people have played with the format of tabletop role-playing games, especially in small press games, I think, the most, because those tend to veer more into experimental realms, like away from, like the most popular types of systems, which are mostly derived from D&D, like the grandmother of all tabletop role-playing games. And so when I started getting into indie role-playing games and small press games, that was one of my favorite things to look at. Like, what type of system did these people create that supported the type of story they want to tell and the type of play that they want to happen at the table that maybe has nothing to do with traditional tabletop role-playing games at all? So yeah, those are my structure woes. I'll show you some quick clips. I don't know, some screen caps of what I'm working on so far. It's really just a document that I have a whole bunch of kind of brain flow of thoughts written down on them about what I'd like to see in the game. So I don't know, maybe this is helpful if you're thinking about structure for your tabletop role-playing games. I know it can be kind of daunting to think, like, how can I create a whole new system, something that's new and cool and that people want to play. Well, I would worry less about making something brand new and more about trying to find your influences in other games, like what is similar to your game that could inspire you. Then go look at those games and those systems and, think about how you can use that in yours, but then kind of like change it to make it your own. Yeah, artists stealing. There's like a famous Picasso quote about that or something. Because it's not really stealing. No art is new. Nothing is ever new. Everything is derivative. We make the same things over and over, just in different ways. So yeah, structure. Okay, so this is the document I'm working on. I usually get started in Google Docs, and it's kind of right now just like a list of things, like a brain dump about all the things I'd want to include in this game. And then some things, like here with fear, I included, what I was thinking, but then also other things that were associated with that just came to my mind, like include a list of possible fears for people to look at as inspiration, and then like safety mechanics for opting into heavier stuff, because when you get into real life things, especially fear, it could get pretty heavy. And then, down here, like I started getting into even more specifics, like here I was talking about the specifics of the structure, since that's like an important part of the game. Creating a long scene, suddenly shifting to characters somewhere else, stuff that would be possibilities with the structure. I started breaking down how I might do character sheets, like things that might be important to the characters that I would include. And then also the mystery, which is like a huge element, a plot element in David Lynch things, and like how I would build that in potentially, you know, without a GM. So this is what I have so far, and hopefully this is helpful for structure stuff. Please like and subscribe and share these videos with your friends, get the word out there, and check out the links below. I included some stuff that I talked about that I can't remember now, and you know, my usual array of links, my Patreon and everything. Thanks.